Welcome back. This is Christine Zeitler with the Olean Public Library, and today we are going to be warping a simple wooden frame loom. If you do not have a piece of wood, you can easily make a cardboard version of this loom. It will not be very durable, and you'll have to be careful to not bend your loom by pulling your warp threads too tightly. The first step is to tape one end of your warp thread to the back of the loom. Use a strong tape so that this thread does not slip out when you start putting tension on your warp threads. Turn your loom to the front side and begin running your first warp thread up through the first notch of your loom. Run your warp around the second peg of your loom, as shown. Your warp thread goes through the second notch of your loom to run down to the bottom of your loom. You're going to want to make sure that there is some tension on these warps. If you were using a true tapestry loom, you would want to thrum them like the strings of a guitar. For our purposes, you just don't want them to be saggy. For the beginning and end of your warp, you will want to have 2 warp threads in these slots. This will help you keep even tension while you are weaving. To do this, run your warp thread around the second peg and up through the first slot. Now you have 2 threads in the first slot and 1 in the second. Run your warp around the back of the loops until you get to the third slot, then you run your warp up to the top. Keep doing this, running your warps around the back of the pegs and up through the slots until you have your loom completely warped. You can choose to warp only a few pegs if you're trying to make a bracelet, or all of them for a little placemat. For the last warp, wrap around any pegs you need to so that you can get 2 threads into the last slot. The extra warp ends will be handled when you take all of this off of your loom. Now that your loom is warped as little or as much as you would like with double threads at the first and last slots, tape off the last warp thread, and you are ready to begin weaving. If it feels right, you can take a couple of minutes and make sure that the warps are as tight as you can get them without damaging your loom. I would love to see your progress on our Facebook page along with any questions.